Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the pregame cheat sheet. I'm Darren Smith along with Steve Walls, and we are live at EverBank Stadium here in Jacksonville, Florida, where the Chiefs will be traveling here to take on, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Steve, first initial thoughts on Monday Night Football. We're back home. You can watch it on ESPN or ABC across the country. So your thoughts on tonight's matchup?
It's going to be a great atmosphere. It's good weather, at least for now. They're calling for rain, little rain earlier. I know, we'll talk about it, but the winds, I believe, is going to be a factor in today's game. There's some southerly wind, I guess, because of the hurricanes that were out, try to come on shore. And so, yeah, I feel like today is going to be one of those where the weather's going to be a factor. I'm not a meteorologist or anything. My friends over ESPN.
You got sources. Oh, look, coming into tonight's game, of course, Kansas City is 2-2. The Jaguars 3-1 with win tonight, and Jacksonville lost. Both teams will be 3-2. Kansas City will be tied with Denver, along with the Los Angeles Chargers, and the 3-1 for the division in the AFC West. So now, what's the big news coming into today? Chiefs have downgraded traveling to Jacksonville today due to suffered. Now, talking to sources, the Chiefs, of course, he should be ready to play tonight's game, and they said that they saw pretty much moving around the hotel, so that's good news.
Yeah, I didn't think it was ever.
With that being said, how do you feel like Xavier's presence has essentially assisted and helped this offense from what they weren't able to do the first 3 weeks of the season?
I think it's helped a lot. I think it's helped a lot. He's definitely been able to, give a spark. As Patrick Mahomes said earlier this week, he brought definitely a spark. And crazy thing, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, but I feel like that game against Baltimore was the same offense that they were going to win week 1 against the Chargers.
No, I agree with that, and we kind of talked about that because it seemed like they were so. The offense looked much different, obviously, with being out, but they said that it was so Worthy-centric that, I said after the game that if he was that much part of the offense, that something was an issue wrong. But we saw how big a role he played and what he did offensively, and really to the defense of Baltimore was input. Of course, 2 more weeks from now, I guess in week 7. Yeah, two weeks from now, we'll see the return of Rashee Rice, and of course that made news over the weekend because Dan Rossini from the Athletic stated that the Chiefs were never really interested in trading for Tyreek Hill because they felt that Rashee Rice being when he comes back from suspension is going to add an additional element, and they said he's the best player on offense that they're looking forward to returning.
And here's the thing, I asked me just yesterday, should the Chiefs go and get Tyreek Hill. And I was like, what does Ricky do best? Speed. You have speed in Xavier Worthy. You have speed in Tyquan Thornton. So you have 2 players in one. Oh, no. But my point is like you said, you really don't need them. I mean, you won a game against Baltimore now. I think Baltimore is just kind of getting beat up by everybody. But your offense definitely looks faster and much smoother with Xavier Worthy on the field.
In tonight's game, of course, for Jacksonville, They have, of course, Trevor Lawrence, who's the number one pick a few years ago. And, of course, they also have the number two player, in Travis Hunter, who plays both ways for them. But what do you expect from Hunter in tonight's game?
You know what? I don't think offensively. I'm gonna start with Travis Hunter. Offensively and defensively, I think he's gotta be good at both.
Yeah.
Like, be good at one or the other. Like, you're not gonna be a superstar on both sides of the ball, right? As a rookie, you're not. Offensively, I think he'll be fine because that's like Rod Knight. But defensively, we talked about the receivers that you have.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to guard some guys that are pretty good. So that being said, I feel like he's not going to be a factor, but Trevor Lawrence is playing good. And in that running game for Jacksonville.
Now, Travis Etienne has been kind of, I don't want to say inconsistent. I think it's more of the offensive play call, but I think now they're feeling how to use him. He played well last week. But also, I think the one player offensively that Chiefs need to watch out for is Brian Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
He really hasn't had that standout game, but I can see him on the outside along, as a number one receiver, having a decent game tonight if the Chiefs especially aren't careful and just trying to focus on stopping ETN.
Yes, it's going to be interesting, but we talked about it. This defense, if you look at the defense week 1 to right now in week 5, night and day. Yeah, especially on that back end, man. I know we mentioned it a little bit earlier in the season. It's like, you don't have Justin Reed. However, now it's looking like these guys are being more comfortable in their position and everybody's knowing their role. So once you do and understand your role, and that's on any team, once you understand your role, everything starts clicking and it fits like a puzzle piece.
Pregame Chief Sheet, Darren Smith along with Steve Walls here inside EverBank Stadium. Now, Steve, when you take a look at the stadium right now, a lot of people, just to kind of give you a layout of what you see here, there's a lot of Chiefs fans down here in a lot of red jerseys filtered along the stadium. Are you surprised by how many Chiefs fans are actually here at tonight's game?
It's Florida, man. It's Florida. Chiefs fans pick, a game to go to every year, and who wouldn't want to come to Florida?
It's hurricane season.
It's hurricane season, but again, a night like tonight, it's not a muggy humid. Like, I think we got lucky, because of the hurricanes that are out there. So I would imagine, like, if this game was played, 2 weeks from now, it'd be a much different cause, or a much different effect with the heat.
I do want to get your thoughts. The Chiefs are, and people made had their issues, but what do you think about the Chiefs in all white tonight?
I like it. I just wish they could have, similar to Buffalo, went with an all white helmet. With the metallic red. I think that would have been dope. Possibly exchange the red numbers with an outline of red with the white number, outline of red. Actually, let me design it. I'm telling you, Chiefs fans, vote for me to be the designer of this new Chiefs uniform.
All right. So actually, pretty good tonight's game. Of course, we're about minutes away from kickoff. See, let's look at the X&Os in tonight's game. Offensively for Kansas City, what do you expect, or what do you hope to see in tonight's game to build upon the last 2 weeks?
Man, just keep doing what they've been doing. Last week, I feel like this was the template of how good this offense. I still think that they should spread the ball around. We can't rely on each and every trip up and down the field. Now, granted, it'll get a little bit better once Rasheed Rice comes back. And I really feel like you need to spread the ball around a little bit more. But if you're winning, you complain about that. I think they were more balanced with the run game. And we did talk about, I don't know if you want to talk about this a little bit, but and no one asked Coach Reed about it, but him not playing, or he was pretty much like, to me, it seemed like he was benched earlier in last week's game.
Is it Xavier Worthy?
Not Xavier Worthy, but Isaiah Pacheco.
Okay.
Isaiah Pacheco was benched earlier in last week's game, in the second quarter. And after he came back, it was go time for him. So I think that may have been a boost that he needed.
I like to see that same type of consistency, but I would like to see Tyquan Thornton kind of, put more in the offense based off of what he did. I think he's earned it. Like, granted, obviously, the number of targets is going to drop just because, Worthy being back and essentially Rice will be back in a couple of weeks. But I think he's done enough. Of course, his one catch last week was for a 7-yard touchdown. touchdown receptions from home. But we also got to say that that Travis did a good job as well. He was a lot more. I think they kind of dictated the number of reps that he would take in the game, but the reps he did take were very valuable. I think he had five catches in the game. I think maybe about 40, 41, 47 years. So, but his game was still impactful. You felt the effects of Kelsey in last week's game.
And Kelsey's always going to demand coverage. Like, he's going to get the best of the best, whether it's a linebacker, he's faster than linebackers. The corner on, he's stronger and bigger than the corner. So, I mean, the defense has to pick their poison. But like I said, I think now the offense is on what other guys and what they're capable of respecting. And then if you don't respect the run now, I feel like they're going to have to come at you with the run. Andy Reid's a smart guy. I understand that, he's going to make adjustments. And I'll ask you, do you feel like he's kind of learned? I don't know if Andy is kind of stuck in his ways because of, he's been doing it for years. But, like, do you think he's learned, like, hey, you got to have a more balanced attack?
No.
Okay.
I think it was I think it's a one-off because once he gets Rasheed back, you're going to see them be more pass-heavy. I mean, and look, and I understand why, but you can't get into a second and one, third and one situation and drop back and throw the pass. Just get the first down. Look, there's nothing against the NFL rule book that says you can't get a first down on second and one or even third and one and risk throwing the football. That says you can't do that. So I don't. And look, and I mean that respect. I just think that he's just who he is. And I think sometimes you just have to be forced into that situation. Which last week he wasn't forced, but they did make a concerted effort to run the football. I will say this though. So based off of what we saw last week, and I know we talked about on the Red Eye and a little bit post game last week when we came early. Do we give the Chiefs any more outside of Indy, which we're not going to let that happen, but do we give them any more grace or excuses for the offense to now look like it did last week?
No, I think
we talked
about it last week. This is who you knew you were going to have. This is who you're going to have.
That's what they talked about in the preseason and the off-season training camp. They talked about going down the field more, talked about being more explosive. Yeah. And granted, now, I get it, what I'm saying, with Worthy being out for a few weeks and now he's back. And, of course, they knew they were going to be without Rasheed Rice for extended time. So, again, I'm just wondering, so no grace is given from here on out?
No grace is given because this is who you knew week one, preseason. You knew Rasheed Rice was going to be suspended at some point. These are the guys that you were going to go to war with. So now that they're here, this is what you got to do with. And I do believe, they had other opportunities to get some free agents or what have you. But this is who you're rocking with.
One of the things, Steve, that looking forward to and want to get your thoughts on is the running back situation. Brashard Smith had a good game last week, but also going back to Isaiah Pacheco, there's been, of course, some issues that we've seen in the last few games where, his pass catching, along with kind of running in the blocks instead of an open hole.
Yeah.
Do you think he has learned? Let me ask you about Andy, but what do you think about Pacheco and what he's gone through over the last 3-4 weeks that we've seen?
I think sometimes you have to take a step back in order to go forward. And I think that last week, that's what it was. When we talked about him, second quarter possibly having that, we're going to go with some other guys and give you a little chance to figure it out. I think that's what it was. And we can only see, I think, this week. Pacheco knows that he has a young bull right behind him that's ready to go get it. And this is a contract year for him, too.
Yeah.
So he's got to figure it out.
Got the young bull, and Pacheco got the old bull of Kareem.
Yeah.
We saw what Kareem Hunt can do even in his limited spells.
Pacheco's got to be like that middle child right now.
Yeah. It's a defensive side of the ball for the Chiefs. Of course, last week, Chris Jones came right around game time, family emergency, and of course, we still have thoughts of prayers to his family. Can they continue to build off of their performance in New York and then even last week? Because last week, Derrick Henry was a non-factor. They ended up essentially forcing Lamar Jackson to quit. Granted, they said he had an injury, but he kind of looked like he forced him to quit the game. Can they still continue to carry over against the young upstart Jackson, who should be more improved just based off of the talent alone and some of the picks that they had that's contributing right away.
If I'm Spag, I'm playing just like the way that I played against Baltimore and the same way I played against Philly. I think you stop the run and you let Trevor Lawrence beat you with his arm. Now, can Trevor Lawrence do it? I feel like he can. However, you've been playing well enough on your back end to be able to, have your guys down front get after the quarterback and make Trevor Lawrence make some stupid mistakes. And I think that's what you got to do. You watch how they did left on Lamar Jackson last week.
Yeah.
And people will say, oh, well, Lamar didn't have all his weapons, the tackle was out, all that. But they still got after him. Chris Jones demands a lot of attention. He's going to get the double team, so that leaves other guys, Omar Norman Lott. It leaves him open to be able to get after the quarterback. We haven't heard a lot from Derek Nottie. I think this may be a game where Derek Nottie gets after the defensive tackle.
Okay, I like that. And look, and Trent has taken on the responsibility of being the number one guy, and they're taking on the number one, wide receiver. So I'm looking to see what he does tonight against Brian Thompson. I said Brian Robinson earlier, so I'm sorry. Brian Thomas in tonight's game, because the thing, again, he hasn't had really a breakout game this season, so I expect him to try to focus on himself, because I don't think people really respect Trent's cover skills, but they're gonna find out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the top corners in the league for a reason, and Trent is on a contract here. So a lot of people don't talk about that, but Trent is definitely on a contract here. So
I think they picked up his fifth-year option, though.
He. Here's the thing about it. Another thing about Trent is he hasn't made All-Pro, and he's been always left on the outside looking in. So I think
made the Pro Bowl. He's made All-Pro.
Second team. He hasn't made first team All-Pro.
He made first team. I think second. He made it as like a fifth corner, but yeah, I give it.
As one of the top corners in the. He's undeniably first team All-Pro.
Yeah.
And granted, first couple of years we had Darius Sneed there, so there was no question about that. Yeah, right. But last year I feel like he should have been undeniably first team All-Pro.
Agreed. And look, it's the same people from the Chiefs: Creed, Chris Jones, Patrick usually. So Travis. So yeah. So this would be a good year, especially if the Chiefs' defense continue to improve. And and I think what he has to do is continue to have games like he's had the last couple of weeks. Because again, Wandale Robinson and Malik Neighbors, they didn't have an impact in New York. Of course, Flowers, didn't do too much last week either. So that's very important. You got a comment?
When are our score predictions? Wants to know our score predictions.
Oh, we get to that. We'll get to that in just a second. But I do want to ask you, Steve, X factor for tonight's game offensively for Kansas City.
Man, I think it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. The reason why I say that is because it's a primetime game, right? Patrick's supposed to show up in these primetime games. So that being said, I really believe that he has to come up and show why he's still Showtime on.
He kind of threw me off with that one. I wasn't expecting that one.
Who do you think I was going to
say? Well, you know we just said Patrick, I guess I was smash. I'm going to go with Travis Kelce. Because here's the thing. We don't know the severity or non-severity of this ankle injury with Xavier Worthy. So I don't know if the Chiefs, try to double down what they did last week with Worthy or allow other players. Now, Kelce, of course, is big in primetime games, but he hasn't really stand that game. I think he had the touchdown in Brazil. Yeah. But he really, the other games really had so much that you can say, okay, he still got it. So I think in tonight's game, he shows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we see touchdown over there. But I think Kelce has a big game in tonight's matchup against the Jaguars, and shows that he's still one of the best, if not the best, tight end in the game.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think his birthday was Saturday.
That's
so
what I'm saying? And look, yesterday was tight end touchdown that somebody's got to be to us. So perhaps he gets a touchdown in tonight's game. Let's look at on the defense side of football. Who's your X factor on defense?
Oh man, I'm gonna go with this linebacking crew as a whole. I think if you're gonna get after the quarterback, you got to make sure that Trevor Lawrence is not going to get out and use his legs and run the ball. We saw the linebackers, guard a top-tier tight end last week out in space, right? End up coming up with an interception that I feel like was the turning point in the game. So I think I'm gonna go with this linebacking crew.
I'm gonna surprise you with this one. I'm not even gonna go with a group. I'm gonna go with a particular person.
Okay.
Joe.
Okay.
The reason why, look, we go back to training camp. Chris Jones kind of called him out. Now I don't know if he called him out in a good way or trying to make a point. But you signed that big contract, and a lot of people over the last few weeks have been trying to figure out, have been saying things about George online, like, bro, you might be overpaid. Brett Veach made a mistake. I think we saw what Chris Jones did last week. Chris Jones is gonna be Chris Jones.
Right.
But Chris Jones also needs a dance partner. I can't say we've seen that from George. How often do you see that?
I mean, we really haven't. Now, granted, they've been getting after the quarterback. However, if they scored home runs or not, I don't. I think the pressure has been there. I really do. I think that they've affected the quarterback enough to help the back end, which has been the whole point of the whole thing. So I can't really say that he's been a non-factor. I can't really say that.
He's been a non-factor, but I think the last few years he's gotten his Canton that sack.
Okay.
Oh no.
Long season.
Yeah.
It's only week 5.
Okay.
Let's talk with 10.
But that's my factor for tonight is George, and I think, and not to say he has to have a big game to win, but I need him to have an impact because if he's having an impact, then that could also mean if he's having an impact, that means Chris having an impact too.
Okay.
Because they're both causing the stress on that line.
Right. I agree.
All right. So before we get out of here, I do want to remind you post game. Stay tuned to Steve and I's social media pages as we bring you the press conference from the Chiefs, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and another player. And of course, we'll be talking about post game, and of course, also bringing you our post game show from the field. Join us tomorrow night for the Red Hour here on our social media platforms: Twitter, X, I can say X, Facebook, and YouTube. Make sure you join us there with myself, Steve, Tyler, and DJ Q. And we got something to rib DJ Q about because it looked like the Eagles lost on yesterday. So let's see if he shows up. But make sure you join us. Follow Steve Walls at Steve Walls KC. Follow me at Darren Smith NFL. Steve, before we get out of here, if people want to know our predictions, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs. I think this is going to be a no question game. I feel like it's a race to 30. I think the Chiefs will score 30 once again this week. I got the Chiefs. It wasn't, but I've been thinking about this, and it's going to be 31-17.
I get his man. He's wrong because he went back and watched. I read it. That's the exact score that I had was 31-17. But no, I want you because again. Well, I'm about to say 35. But this thing, the Chiefs, to me, don't have any more excuses. And one thing we didn't talk about was special teams. And people talking about Bucker missing a 56-yard kick before half. My thing is simple. If the offense is what it's supposed to be doing, Bucker shouldn't be kicking 50-plus yard field goals unless it's the end of the half. And perhaps in the ball game, but it shouldn't be that close if that's the case.
Okay.
If this offense looks like it's supposed to be looking, we shouldn't see Harrison Butker kicking any long field goals, any 50-plus yard field goals, because the offense should be too creative, too powerful to be having to stop, to kick a long distance field goal. So that means I got 35. I'm going to change the score 35-17. Kansas City. I don't think it's going to be that many points scored on Jacksonville's side unless it's something late in the ball game. But I do think Kansas City, they probably win the coin toss. They'll score prior to half, and then come out and score at the start of the second half and put a 3 touchdown lead ahead of Jacksonville. But it happened. I don't know what the weather's going to be like throughout the game. So weather precluding, I think that Kansas City wins this game in a blowout. All right, before we get out, Steve, make sure you do it the next 3 weeks. We'll, of course, be doing the pregame cheat sheet from Arrowhead Stadium. So which is when we play at home. The next road game will be Buffalo on November the 2nd. So, Steve, give a shout out to the sponsors, if you would.
Shout out to friends over at Billy's on the Road. Go talk to my guy Herman. Herman takes care of you. Department, go talk to him. Billy's is on the road. So also my friends over at Nissan. I see Nissan just out at the airport. Go holler at them. Every customer, every time.
And of course, you can always stop by Todd's Clothiers and Taylor Suits. 2 locations, one at the Legend, and of course, where I go to Adam Park. I want to thank Todd White and his crew, as well as his barbecue, Colin Gates, and obviously the OB, Mr. Ali Gates, and George Gates, and the Gates family who takes us while we're home and when we travel on the road. Trust me, even the people here at EverBank Stadium, some of that Gates that I brought in for us tonight. But that being the case, make sure you join us post game and make sure you check us out tomorrow night on the radar for Steve Walls at Steve Walls KC. I'm Darren Smith at Darren Smith NFL. Shout out to my mama, hi, because I know you want to probably send something that you think as well. Make sure you join us post game. Thank you very much. See you next week back at home in Kansas City.
He can see everything from the post back, but he's talking about